Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a truly wild viral phenomenon straight from our source material. We're talking about the sudden, explosive rise of the Cockroach Junta Party. I know, the name sounds crazy, right? But it's this fascinating story blending internet culture, deep political frustration, and a totally new form of digital activism. Whether you're a political junkie or just casually scrolling online, this matters to you. Why? Because it's literally rewriting the rules of how citizens demand accountability. So let's map out exactly what's happening, why it's happening, and where it might be going. Okay, let's dive right in by asking the core question our source poses at the very beginning. Can a joke, like a literal internet meme about insects, actually mount a serious challenge to an established political system? I mean, what started as a sarcastic comment has completely snowballed into a massive, spontaneous digital uprising. We're going to look past the memes and the satire to uncover the real, serious socio-political mechanics at play here. So here's our roadmap for the explainer. We'll look at the birth of a digital rebellion, the viral explosion, fueling the anger, the 5-point manifesto, this whole new concept of digital satyagraha, and finally, what happens next. Section 1, Birth of a Digital Revolution, How an Insult Sparked a Movement. According to our source, the spark for all of this actually happens on May 15th. During a Supreme Court hearing, the Chief Justice made a comment referring to certain youth as cockroaches. Now, he later clarified he meant people with bogus degrees who attack institutions, not all youth. But you know how social media works, right? The damage was already done. Unemployed youth who were already feeling completely unheard took it as a massive insult. The very next day, a former political strategist named Abhijit Dipke tweeted a satirical thought. He basically asked, what if the cockroaches unite? And wow, the response was just overwhelming. Within days, this single joke transformed into a fully functioning website, and the Cockroach Junta Party, dedicated to the so-called lazy, chronically online youth, was officially born.
All right, Section 2, the viral explosion. Breaking digital records overnight.
15 million. Let that sink in for a second. According to the source, the Cockroach Junta Party's Instagram page hit an absolutely astonishing 15 million followers almost overnight. This wasn't some slow, methodical build over years and years. No, this was a massive digital tidal wave that literally happened in a matter of days. To really put that crazy scale into perspective, let's look at the established national parties. The ruling party, the BJP, sat at around 8 million followers, and the main opposition, Congress, was at under 8 million. So this newly minted, totally satirical digital party completely eclipsed them. They nearly doubled the ruling party's follower count. Our source really emphasizes that this kind of organic, spontaneous traction is almost impossible to manufacture. It's a genuine, raw reaction from the people. But of course, an explosion like this doesn't just go unnoticed, does it? The source notes that the system struck back pretty quickly. As mainstream media outlets like Al Jazeera and the BBC started covering the phenomenon, the CJP's official Twitter handle was abruptly suspended. IT cells immediately began working in real time to discredit the movement, basically trying to link its founder to past political affiliations to frame the whole thing as propaganda. But here's the crucial thing our source points out. You simply cannot artificially engineer 15 million followers overnight. It just doesn't work that way. Moving on to Section 3, Fueling the Anger, the real issues behind the satire. So the momentum here isn't just because the meme was funny, right? It's driven by deep-seated systemic anger. Our source attributes this to several core youth grievances. Front and center are the devastating exam paper leaks. We're talking specifically about the NEET exams, with reports of papers leaking over 60 times in just 7 years. I mean, imagine the frustration. You study for years, only to find out the whole system is rigged against you. Add to that widespread unemployment, a sense of deep economic helplessness, a crumbling education system, and new broadcasting bills that aim to restrict independent media. It's no wonder the youth feel like every single avenue for their advancement is being actively suppressed. That brings us to Section 4, the 5-point manifesto, demanding concrete accountability. The movement didn't just stay angry online. They actually released these specific, highly targeted manifesto points. Point 1. Blocking post-retirement government appointments for top officials like the CGI or military leaders to prevent conflicts of interest. Point 2. Threatening arrest under anti-terror laws for election officials if legitimate voters are deleted. Point 3. Demanding a 50% women's reservation, canceling biased media licenses, and slapping a 20-year ban on politicians who switch parties. Point 4. the immediate resignation of the education minister over those exam leaks. And finally, point 5, hosting a virtual Gen Z convention to actually give the youth a voice. Now, whether you think these are practical or not, our source notes this actually offers a far clearer vision than what many established parties are currently offering the youth. Actually, their core mission is captured perfectly by this quote straight from their website. It says, "We are not here to set up another PM Cares. We are here to ask loudly, repeatedly, in writing, where the money went." Wow. That is a raw, unfiltered demand for strict accountability from a system that they feel has just entirely stopped answering to them. Section 5. A new digital satyagraha, redefining protests for the internet age. So, satyagraha, the historic method of nonviolent resistance, is basically being completely redefined for the internet age. The source explains this digital satyagraha through some pretty brilliant online tactics. Instead of physically blocking roads, the youth are engaging in what they call digital picketing. That means flooding comment sections and inboxes so politicians literally can't look away. They're also practicing digital non-cooperation by sharing report cards of ministers' failures instead of blindly accepting their promises. By peacefully leveraging AI to make posters and coordinating profile picture changes, they completely avoid the risk of police batons or physical crackdowns on the streets. It's smart. Now, as an explainer, I really want to clarify that we are absolutely not endorsing any political viewpoints here. We're simply reporting on the source material impartially. And our source highlights that the CJP is this massive dual critique. On the one side, it's a direct hit at the ruling government for policy failures, unkept promises, and just a general inability to listen to the youth. But on the flip side, it's an equally harsh critique of the political opposition. The source explicitly states that if this much youth anger exists, established opposition parties have utterly failed to tap into it or offer any viable vision. It leaves the youth feeling entirely politically homeless. Finally, Section 6, what happens next? The tipping point of digital dissent. The establishment obviously has a heavy hand and can easily suspend accounts under the guise of public order or national security. But the source points out that the CJP is evolving into a decentralized mosaic system. They're taking inspiration from digital resistance tactics in places like Iran. It isn't reliant on just one leader. If the main page is deleted, bam, hundreds of regional accounts pop up in its place. You can delete an Instagram account in seconds, for sure. But as the source wisely notes, deleting an idea that has firmly taken root in the minds of millions, that's nearly impossible. So I'm going to leave you with this final, really provocative thought from our source material. The youth are currently using this digital space to vent peacefully. The choice right now lies entirely with the establishment. Will the system actually listen, engage, and address these deep-rooted issues? Or will they just try to crush and silence these digital cockroaches? Because continuously suppressing peaceful dissent could eventually push that anger from the digital world straight onto the physical streets. What you should absolutely take away from this is that the internet has fundamentally changed how power is challenged, and the next move belongs entirely to the establishment. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer.